Michael Fritz is good in pretty much anything he gets into. I can't quite remember who won Michigan, but Sean Butler is going to be a factor in that 10 car. Tristan Hagenstein in the 81's got to be something to keep an eye on. And Matthew Zwack, we saw him claw from the back to the front multiple times at Michigan a couple weeks ago. I think he'll have a good shot here to get it done.
Drivers will go on green flag to start things off 2 by 2 here at the Brickyard. As the teammates Tucker Minter, Garrett Conrath in the front row, Blake Reynolds, Jack Painter watching along in the second row. iRacing pace car is off. The first part of the Freedom 100s is all set to go. Barney the flagman will wave the green flag. We're underway with a great start for the inside.
Great start from the inside as long as you're in the first 3 rows. Everybody else, I think, from Hagenstein on back, just kind of was not up to speed there on that green flag run, and everybody kind of accordion back through, but they made it work through 2.
Already the teammates hooking up at the bottom of the racetrack. Blake Reynolds getting the push now from Jack Painter. One driver making it 3 wide already for the race lead on the outside. That's Tristan Hagenstein, bringing Sean Butler with them on that high groove. The rest of the drivers now fanning already out single file or 2 by 2 in a couple different groupings here and there in the back half.
Now, we talked about this at Michigan, too. These cars can, for some reason, bump draft as long as you're really, really careful. And that's what these guys here at the front are doing. I don't think it's going to work out all that well, but props to them for trying to make it work here.
Like Michigan, they were warned that if they bump draft, you can easily damage your front wing. And so many times here, when it comes to an IndyCar chassis, you get damaged. You're going backwards in terms of speed. A couple drivers clipping the grass there and going backwards now.
Yeah, Adam Martin ate the grass on the back straightaway and lost a good 5-10 spots in the process. But still, it's the teammates of Minter and Conrath on the bottom that are keeping things steady. But that outside line is making hay as Conrath makes contact, and he hangs on for now. But that got scary down the main straight.
And a big move from Ken Rush, and now trouble. Caution is out for the first time. Morpheus Perry, Matt Spalding get the worst of it.
Yeah, it all started there with Spalding, I think. Going back and looking at the replay, him and Conrath just touched in the turn number 1, and that knocked him up the racetrack. And I mean, once you get out of the groove, getting into the corner, you're toast.
Yeah, that was very dicey, and you can already see one of the drivers trying to get their way to the pit lane without having to take the tow. That is Morpheus Perry trying to bring his demolished chassis around the racetrack.
With no front wheels at all. Here's the bar visuals replay, and you'll see when they get down here into the end of the main straightaway. Right here, watch that car in the middle. It's the 26 Matt Spalding. He comes down, just catches the right rear wheel of Garrett Conrath, and that sends him up the racetrack out of the groove. He's lost the downforce on the front of the car because it's pushed him wide, and just he falls in Mo Perry's lap, and he has nowhere to go but hard into the outside wall.
A tough collision. Ends up collecting 2 drivers to the outside wall for a first caution flag of the race. Just a couple laps into the action. Really aggressive early on. Keep in mind when it comes to the Dallara IR18 chassis, error wash is a major talking point, Jacob, usually when it comes to racing here in Indianapolis. For these drivers, it doesn't seem too much of an effect so far. If anything, they can maneuver very quickly here on the oval.
Yeah, it feels like they're running it kind of like at Michigan. I was surprised that they were able to keep it 3 wide throughout the pack through these first couple laps. As tires wear and stuff like that, I think we'll see a little bit less of that. But because of that caution coming out, Tristan Hagenstein wound up being the luckiest man in town. He takes the lead, and now we get to the strategy that I talked about earlier. Hagenstein's going to stay out, and Minter's going to stay out. Most everybody else, though, is coming onto pit road. They want fuel to try and make it to the end.
And they may be banking on several more caution flags to get them to that mark. Keep in mind, there is a faster pair also available for tonight's racing action. So you do have that option available as well. And don't forget the chance to change a front wing without said faster pair as well as the potential of the back wing. One car has hit the wall. Cosman Ionescu has missed his pit stall and made contact with the left side tires against the pit wall. I believe he was able to get in the stall, but that's not how you want to enter your pit stall.
No, and I think, yeah, no, he got on the brakes pretty hard. He tried to avoid, who was that? Frisch in front of him and Tyler Williams coming behind him. I think that's why he pulled out of the way towards the wall, is because he saw Williams coming in, who was just 2 boxes ahead of him. And just a big mistake there from Cosman. I think he's going to be all right. That left front suspension may be in a little bit of trouble, but it could be worse for Cosman. There you see the onboard. Yeah, that did a little more damage than I thought it would have to that front suspension. But like I mentioned, these cars are very, very fragile.
So not the pit entry he wanted here. We are a couple laps out of the original estimated window. Keep in mind, lights are still on top of the iRacing pace car as well. To reset your field, it's Hagenstein, Minter, Zwack, and Poulin. Conrath and Rush, Painter and Plussel, Fanning, Martin, Reynolds, Corder, Malillo, Butler, Williams, Frisch. Morpheus Perry, the last of the drivers off the pit lane at the moment, and Cosman is now rolling after 1 minute and 20 seconds in his pit stall. Still very early on in the race, that's the main thing. Keep in mind, with the slower speeds, we're running 1 second slower lap times than what are expected in race trim for the Indianapolis 500-mile race this weekend. Jacob?
Yeah. Oh, goodness. I'm not even on live camera. Field's coming off the floor for me. There we go. So Hagenstein just came over the radio, and this is probably way off topic to what you were just talking about, but he wanted some clarification on restart here and whether the green flag is on him, whether the green flag is on the game, or what that was about. But he got that sorted away, it looks like, and I think we are going green this time. Restarts are a little different in this compared to everything else. As soon as the green flag's out, you can pass. You don't need to wait till you get to the start-finish line. But single-file restarts, unlike NASCAR where they double them up typically, we stay single-file here.
A lot to keep in mind. And drivers have been warned once again, no passing till the green in the sim itself is out for our drivers. So that's something to keep in mind with the launch. Hagenstein, or keep in mind, along with Minter and Zwack, did not elect to come down and pit. So they are in that window where they're going to need potential caution flags for the fuel. Everyone else topped off and or took tires in that sequence.
I really don't think that the guys that stayed out, Zwack, Minter, and Hagenstein, I don't think they can make it unless we have a lot more cautions or they pit. I don't think they can make it to the end with just staying out and just having a few cautions here and there. Everybody else, I'm leery on them making it to the end, but I think they're definitely a lot closer than the 3 guys out in front.
Make that 2 cars out in front who get the great launch green flag. Tucker Minter using the draft to get to the outside. That's the line that a lot of drivers in the IR18 have been able to use. In turns 1 and 3, Minter, though, elects to back off and reset his charge to get to Garrett Conrath. Here comes the dive, though, to the inside. That's Matthew Zwack.
Hagenstein tried for the block. It was just too little too late. Now he's going to get eaten up. It's going to get split. Minter on the outside, Zwack on the inside. Here comes Conrath on the outside now. Minter in the middle. He's going to lead, but tell you what, Zwack is strong. Oh, we got trouble. That's Conrath up in the fence.
And that immediately broke his front suspension. Both the tires are broken. No caution flag, though. We are currently staying green as he's up against the outside wall.
And they were 3 wide coming into turn number 3, and it looks like Conrath may have just turned into the side of Hagenstein there. I think that's what put him up there, but right now they're battling big time up at the front. Look at this.
They continue to fight. Conrath is still trying to get to the pit lane. Keep in mind, at the end of the racetrack, it's going to be interesting once they get to the front straightaway if he's still there. Zwack still trying to run right against the white line. Conrath has now pulled into tow. So he's on the circuit, and now the Spud cauliflower machine with a great save, and he still makes more contact. That's with Lucas Plussel. We stay green still, 2-2.
And Blake Reynolds just had his life flash before his eyes. He almost ate the wall that we've seen guys like Gary Lyondike when iRock was here long ago. He almost ate that wall coming off of turn number 4. That could have been a big hit, but he was able to hang on, and a great job by Minter there too. That could have been 2 in a row for the teammates there.
Sean Butler has also had to put in a tow for a similar incident to what happened before, as it's now 3 wide for the race lead once more. And it's sort of like a super speedway race, similar to Michigan, but with less space once more as these drivers get really dicey still for the race lead and for the second pack.
Plossel bounced it off the wall there on the outside, getting into turn 3. Caution is out, and it looks like it is for Mo Perry. Yes, Mo Perry's around turn 4.
Contact with Cosman. Potentially, that puts Morpheus Perry up into the outside wall. And with the bar visuals replay, that was the 3rd car in turn 4 that had a similar incident side by side.
He turned in and they were close, but I think that is what we call arrow loose, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, that got Mo Perry around there.
Let's stick with that phrasing, as there it is right there. You can tell and be the judge in that one as he goes up into the outside wall.
Didn't make contact, but in some far-off land, I guess they made contact.
Let's call it the powers of racing online, and that's the challenges of racing over the internet is sometimes you get these types of circumstances. It used to be much worse back in the day in the predecessors to iRacing, keep in mind. It's gotten a lot better over the years.
Yeah, you're right.
On that note, we are inside the fuel window now to make it to the end.
And I would expect to see every single car come onto pit road. And as soon as I say that, Ben Fanning and Ethan Corder are going to try and be heroes and stay out. Looks like we're going to have, I think that's Spalding staying out back there, maybe a few others, but everybody else is coming in. They want this fuel to make it to the end here, which I think is probably the smarter move.
Spalding's been waved around the pace car as well as Sean Butler, by the way, so those drivers will get themselves a lap back. With this caution flag sequence, that'll bring us to about 17 cars in the lead lap. Garrett Conrad will also get a wave. He was 2 laps down after his incident under green. As everyone except for Fanning, Corder, and Pullen come in, so those drivers will try and stretch it potentially on the gas. Keep in mind that a lot of shuffling has been able to find their way to the front. One of the examples is Corder. Started 13th, immediately found himself in the chance for the race lead before the strategy call even. He just did. So in our words, if you play it smart, you can get the track position with this car.
Yeah, and this is... track position is very important, especially the way these guys are racing. You know, it's going to be a bit chaotic. There's no doubt about it.
It can be chaotic, so how do you try and harness that chaos to be able to make your way and cut your way to the pack without making contact? Or holding each other up is the bigger thing too.
Wait around at the back and wait for another caution, because the way these guys are racing, we're going to have a lot more cars that are going to need tarps to get them off the racetrack with how much damage is going to be on them. These guys have not held back at all, and we're only a quarter of the way through this first race now. So these guys are really aggressive out of the gate, and the single file restarts help, but man, these guys accordion together after about 2 laps at full speed, and that's when things start to get crazy.
We're approaching the Wendigo signal this time by. We'll see if anyone elects to top off. Yes, indeed, we do. Lucas Plussel is electing to top off. This time, Justin Malillo as well as Tyler Williams. Garrett Conrad will also come down this time. Caden Rush also will come down this time by, it appears, towards the pit lane as he lets by the drivers who have gone into their wave arounds. Puts us at 29 laps to go. This time by. Coming up to 28 when the green flag flies once more. It's Benjamin Fanning in the race lead, followed by Quarter and Poulin. Matthew Zwack was the first driver off the pit lane, followed by Adam Martin, who started in 10th position, keep in mind. Hagenstein, who's led laps, is inside the top 6. Painter, Blake Reynolds, Minter, and Sean Butler now scored inside your top 10 at the moment. Your thoughts on how this restart could play out here, Jacob?
Well, as long as Fanning gets a good start, he's going to break out in front and start to pull away. But after about a lap, everybody else is going to reel him in, if that, maybe even only be half a lap, until everybody else is able to get to the back bumper. And it's like Daytona with these cars, where you can get out in front, but that draft is so powerful that as long as you are anywhere close to Fanning, you're going to catch him in a hurry and blow right by him.
And you also have to keep in mind some of the drivers may have to be a bit more patient with their moves. Those drivers who have already used a fast repair, Jacob, Butler, Spalding, Conrath, Perry so far.
That list is going to grow as the night goes on. They're lucky, though, that they do get another fast repair for this second race coming up, this second 40-lap race. You know, it's not all thrown down the drain here in the first 10 laps of the first race.
All the drivers are ready to go. Race 1 for the Freedom 100s continues now. Benjamin Fanning going to stack the box as the green flag waves. A great launch for him. Off and away they go.
Yeah, everybody got really spaced out there. That's a solid restart. They're a little bunched up in the back, but I think they'll be able to keep it clean for now. Fanning, Quarter, pulling. They're pulling away, but here comes Quarter in a hurry around the outside.
Using the draft, and that's something that you may see a lot of when it comes to the Door R18. Seeing the same with the Door IR01. Jake Poulin with the bump draft to Quarter. Pushes Quarter to the race lead and then some. By about 2 car lengths as Adam Martin now joins the fray.
5-car pack for the lead. Then you have to go more than a second back, a second and a half back to get to everybody else. The next pack of 4, there's a pack of 7 behind them. It's really spread out right now. But this top 5, they are pushing and shoving. Adam Martin, the only one without a dancing partner, into turn 1.
2x2 for the race lead as they try and run away. They have pulled away by 1.72 seconds. It's the question of how will the other pack now form up? Will they be able to work together to close up? Will these drivers start to fight to hold each other up? They are picking up a lot of time down the straightaway, this group, and the other group is running 3 wide and costing themselves a bit of time outside of Reynolds and Minter, who were able to bump draft and gain a 10.
4 wide back there. Good grief. These guys, you would think they're racing for the lead. They're not. They're racing for 7th at least. Maybe 9th, 10th. I didn't realize how far back they were, but they're a little aggressive out there this early on. We're not even at halfway, but now this lead group has gotten strung out single file with the exception of, I think, Fanning. Yeah, Fanning stuck on the outside, but he's going to get in line here off of 2. So now the top 9 are all single file in 2 separate groups.
And the second pack, I think, has caught the drift of working together because they are back within the draft of the main pack. They were able to close up that 1.7 seconds to the race leader real quickly over the past lap and a half after the bump draft from Reynolds to back into Minter. Minter taking that run and getting contact. That will slow him up and he'll lose some time as they now drive to the very inside wall. 4 different drivers to the attenuator just about down the front stretch with 25 to go.
Yeah, these guys are getting more and more aggressive, but they got to cover that inside wall because if they don't, somebody can get a good run on in the draft, pull to the inside, and try and make the pass. If you ride that inside of the racetrack, you shut the door on any move. Like, if you want to get by me, the only way you're getting by me on the back straightaway is if you go through the grass, and good luck getting back up.
This whole group features 9 drivers who are on the lead lap, 10th on back. Still more than 3 seconds behind the rest of this group, losing about a second a lap. But the more they fight, the more that can potentially cost them some time.
Man, Zwack almost turned into the side of Poulin there and sent him up the hill. That could have been big there. They were able to keep it going, but tell you what, Hagenstein got a big run on the top 3 wide down the back straightaway, and he's falling back, so he has the speed. He just needs somebody else to go with him up top 3 wide. I think he'll have a shot to get the lead.
Still 3 wide going on in row 3 as a bit of contact. What a save by Matthew Zwack.
He almost whacked the wall there. I don't know how he hung onto that thing. Ping-ponging off of cars. No damage, I'm sure. That was luck right there. I'm sure some of that was on the driving ability of Matthew Zwack, but that was luck. He didn't wind up upside down as the leaders were almost going to pile it up. Tucker Minter got a shove of a lifetime up the racetrack, and they're still 3 and 4 wide. I don't know how they haven't wadded them up.
They're getting close to it now in the middle of that group. Benjamin Fanning nearly made contact. He's going to back up now right behind Tucker Minter as several more line up against the white line. Adam Martin and Jack Painter are the last of these drivers in this group. Keep in mind that the second pack of drivers are fighting just like this for 10th on back as well, where they're also 3 wide and continue to lose tons of time as a result of set fighting at the head of the group.
Yeah, but we got 2 packs that are fighting just about as hard. One's for first, one's for 10th. It's incredible how these guys just, they want to get to the front. They want to lead the pack, even though it might not be the pack of the race. There they go. Ethan Quarter into the moon. See ya. Oh, the second pack. Wow. Look out, guys. Oh, and that was, Spalding got a piece of it. And Ben Fanning in it as well. But Spalding was already in a wreck, and he's lost the suspension on both tires on the right side. That thing's cooked.
An unbelievable incident brings us under caution. The second pack had no idea what was coming for them when they came out of the corner. You do not expect a car to fly out of the sky and land on top of you.
Yeah, and that's well, he took a couple of bounces, and I tell you what, nobody hit Quarter, thank goodness. It was hitting Fanning, who was parked in the middle of the racetrack. Fanning couldn't do anything because his car was broken. But I've never seen a car do that before. You have to go back a little bit further before turn 2, kind of the gap between 1 and 2, where just contact between Poulin and Quarter got him all out of shape, and then he gets hit in the back by Zwack, and that's what sends him up the hill and into the wall. Nowhere for Fanning to go. He gets collected. Quarter hits the outside wall almost head on, and it's like when it rips the nose cone off, it just propelled him up into the sky, and then nowhere for Zwack to go, or Spalding to go, just last second, cranks it left and just catches Fanning. Plossel does a great job to avoid it. He pretty much comes to a dead stop to avoid Fanning in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, absolute carnage. Let's take a look. This is from Spalding. From that second pack, and you can see how racy they're getting and starting to check up, and then you see the car flying in the sky.
Well, and what happened was he was probably watching Quarter, wondering where he was going to land, and then looked over to his right and said, oh my gosh, there's a car in the track, and had to turn dead left at the last second and just couldn't miss him. But props to everybody else for making it happen, and Jake Poulin stays out. Everybody else is pitting, with the exception of Garrett Conrath. He stays out as well.
This is from Lucas Bledsoe as well, from the heart of the pack, and you can see he said something was going wrong the second he seen that car and immediately put on the brakes.
Yeah, and like I said, that is a view you never want to have as a driver, or really as anybody. Yeah, he did a great job getting through there, coming to a dead stop. There were only 2 cars behind him, so he didn't have to worry about getting run over at full speed. A great job there of getting on the binders and getting out of the way. And Blake Reynolds is going to win the race off the pit road.
That'll score him 3rd overall on the racetrack. Tucker Minter, the 2nd off the pit lane. Followed by Plussel and Martin, Hagenstein, Painter, Butler, Rush. Zwack has also come off the pit lane right behind them. Tyler Williams, Michael Frisch, Cosman, on those drivers taking extended service under this caution flag. And as you mentioned, Poulin and Milolo electing to stay out, as talked about. Those drivers trying to stretch it on gas. We're just past halfway, by the way. So we're at that point of the race so far. And don't forget, there is a second 40-lapper after this as well.
Second verse, same as the first, I think, is what we're going to be looking at.
We'll see how things play out here on this upcoming race start. I'm very curious to see how these drivers fare.
Well, these guys can make it to the end from this point because everybody has stopped recently. recently enough. Poulin, he pitted on lap 5, so he may be close, but I think if he saves enough, he'll be fine. Everybody else should be all right, though. Melillo should be okay, as we've got somebody coming onto pit road. That's Lucas Plossel. He's coming in again. But for the most part, I think everybody's going to be good on fuel, even if we go green at the end. My only question mark right now is Poulin. Melillo should be fine, and everybody else just pitted. But Poulin, 16 laps, that might be a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, but keep in mind the caution laps are going to help him save fuel because of the different fuel mappings, etc. So we'll have to see how things fare out for him as they get ready for the restart here. Now, as Poulin is already thinking about backing it up possibly already.
Gotta do everything you can to save fuel and to keep the lead. Do 2 with 1 stone right here.
And this is legal, keep in mind, to do. And it's a tactic that many drivers utilize when it comes to the IR18 here at the Brickyard as well. Because it's a massive runoff you can get off turn 4 when you're this far behind the pace car. This is a tactic also used in real life as well, Jacob.
Yeah, and we'll see how it works, but the same thing's going to apply. Poulin's going to hit the gas. Everybody else is going to hit the gas. Poulin may get a good jump, but he's going to get eaten up by the rest of the pack after about half a lap.
Still, though, really far back for the pace car, at least one corner already as they go to the short chute of 3 and 4. 3 cars are currently off track. Ethan Corder, Matt Spalding, Morpheus Perry. We'll have 18 to go when the green flag flies this time as they cut their way through turns 3 and 4. Poulin's onto the loud pedal, and off and away he goes for the green flag. A massive launch of more than 6 car lengths over Melillo and company.
Yeah, he dropped the deuces and said, "I'll see you later, boys." But here comes Blake Reynolds, and now here comes Minter, 3 wide for 2nd and 1.
And already they're fighting hard in that pack. Minter jumping up to 2nd. Martin trying to fall into 3rd, bringing his teammate Hagenstein with them. They now move up to the right side and work together on the high groove. Down to the bottom groove, Melillo trying to build up a run and bring Blake Reynolds with them as here comes that draft. Poulin with nowhere to go but the middle.
Yeah, Poulin was a sitting duck right there. He wasn't going to be able to block all that. Adam Martin, great job to get to the front. Now he's got Melillo behind him. He peeks out to the high side off 4.
17 laps to go in the first race for the Freedom 100. It's 2x2 once more for the race lead. The lead pack features 6 cars. The next group is about 1.3 seconds behind, led by Michael Frisch, who's been running a quiet race in the Captain Crunch car, and Garrett Conrad. Lucas Plussel also in that respective group. They also have a small pack in front in Jack Painter, Matthew Zwack, Sean Butler, and Caden Rush, who are also trying to close in. So several small groupings becoming a trend here on these restarts.
I forgot Michael Frisch was even in this race just because we haven't talked about him at all. As Melillo and Poulin team up to take the lead. You know, that second pack hasn't really seen a lot of daylight thus far. They've been kind of hiding back from everybody else, just trying to stay away from the big crash. They're doing a good job at it, but right now we're past halfway. You got to start digging for everything you can.
Coming up to 15 to go next time by at the stripe. Melillo trying to hold on with the 3 wide right behind him. Tucker Minter. Likely, I think, to try and run the safe line. And it seems like the bottom line is where do you want to be almost if you want to play things safe or work together. If you want to advance, you need to be on the higher line.
Yeah, the inside line is kind of the conga line. The outside line is like the fast lane on a highway. You go there when you want to go and make moves. But you can't be there for very long because that run will dry up quick and you will sink back and back and back.
And a majority of the incidents so far have seen contact from the left side tires that have shot cars up into the outside walls. So that's also something to keep in mind. As for the race lead, on the outside, it's Hagenstein. On the inside, Justin Melillo trying to get himself clear. Is Hagenstein now with the bump? Huge shove coming that time from Blake Reynolds, as now that moves Hagenstein to the point, and Tucker Minter jumps into the draft and follows suit.
Well, it helps when Melillo didn't really have any help. He had Poland, but there was still a car length between him for most of the back straightaway. So Reynolds just stayed right up tucked beneath the rear wing of Hagenstein. It worked down the back straightaway. He was able to get right by him in turn 3, and he's going to lead. But now you got Minter working together with Adam Martin on the high side. They are closing in as Blake Reynolds just killed some innocent cones down in turn 1. Goodness.
Bit of a sketchy moment there. He has some scrapes, though, on his front wing. And drivers talked about, as well as race admins, that you will be able to feel said damage once you get into the corner, because that is a loss of downforce if you have said damage. A lot of scrapes now on Reynolds' front nose, as he has to back up now right behind the race leaders. By the way, the other packs, they're coming. Zwack, Butler, Painter, and Caden Rush are closing into the lead group. You see them in the backdrop. They're all single file.
Yeah, the 2 packs behind these guys have gotten single file. The leaders are still battling. Right now, if you're the leaders, you got to be thinking, we need to get single file. We need to get single file now. The only problem is, now that Blake Reynolds has that damage, he's pretty much just going to be a bridge between this lead pack and this second pack, because he is off the pace in a hurry.
And now he's moved down to the bottom of the racetrack to the back of the pack. We'll see how things now fare, that he gets the chance to reset. Michael Frisch reporting a technical issue now. Michael Frisch has a problem. He is driving with no ability to see where he's at and somehow makes it to the corner.
He's back now. He says he's not sure if it was a power surge or what, but he's rolling. He's back in this third pack. There are only 3 of them. It's him, Plossel, and Tyler Williams, but they're keeping their foot in it right now and trying to have a shot. But this lead pack is now one Goliath pack right now, and this is going to get interesting.
10 cars all under a blanket, coming to 11 laps to go. Now Sean Butler is the driver who leads the high line charge. He's got the help of Matthew Zwack. They were the other way around when they were bump drafting one another to get themselves into this grouping. On the bottom line, Adam Martin is helping Tucker Minter for the time being.
Oh, we got guys bouncing off the pit wall. That was Hagenstein that got it the most and fell back. Our producer just said it too. He said somebody's going to hit the pit wall, and sure enough, the next lap, somebody hits the pit wall. Way to go, Zach. Way to call it.
I think that was Adam Martin too who ended up clipping it. That is a scary moment. They are lucky they did not demolish the race cars there.
That could have been a lot worse. It's a good thing that they were able to keep it clean. But here comes Butler on the outside with help from Reynolds. Reynolds isn't done yet. He's going to try and push his teammate to the lead.
That's a few more scrapes to that front wing as Hagenstein falls up on the top line now with them. 3 wide for the race lead. 10 laps to go from the Brickyard in the first race of the Freedom 100s. On board, you can see how aggressive they're pushing, with Reynolds now getting squirrely in the corner.
Yeah, they're running the outside line like we're at Talladega. My gosh, I don't think I've ever seen this at Indianapolis. Is Minter really can't do anything on the bottom. He doesn't have as much help. That outside line is like glue. They're stuck together on the top side.
Yeah, they're doing a great job pushing for the time being, but more scrapes added to Reynolds' front nose, and now he is clear on the bottom side for the race lead. Move him to the bottom line in front of Tucker Minter.
And now he's running it like a plate track. He moved down on the bottom in the corner, then he moves up to pick up his teammate again. He's probably going to go back to the bottom here if he can. His teammate might be clear as well, and Butler will have to see in turn 1. He is. They're both going to go to the inside. Butler takes the lead. Reynolds is left hung out to dry.
And you almost have to wonder if they're thinking about swap drafting here. Almost. We're trying to control that top line. The problem is, not a great run at all from Blake Reynolds. That takes away that possibility as Zwack now boxes them in a touch. Butler with a huge shove now from Minter, then puts them up to 216 miles an hour into the corner that time. A lot of lifting, though, for some of these drivers with the tires.
And here comes Minter back on the high side. He's got help from Zwack. That outside line has really come in these last 10 laps, and for some reason, it's working. Here comes Caden Rush, making it 3 wide on the outside in that yellow Pennzoil machine.
Huge shove from Hagenstein as Hagenstein now backs off. 8 laps to go, coming up to 7 as near contact for a couple drivers. Hagenstein really dicing his way up to the top line. He has no help, though, for the back straightaway now. He finds him in a rush. Backing off now is Blake Reynolds as he looks to reset. Moving down to the middle line goes Caden Rush. Justin Malua moves back into the fray. One driver moves into the grass. They all hold on to it.
Caden Rush.
And now they go around. Caden Rush to the inside wall. We stay green for now as he crashes on the access road.
Yeah, he's down out of harm's way. But I tell you what, that, who is that? That's Hagenstein. It shows a little bit of damage on my screen but with the rear tire, but I know it's not there, so he's fine for the most part. Caden Rush was the only one that really got affected by that. Kind of calmed everything down for a moment, but it'll pick back up here again, probably right now down the back straightaway.
Now coming up to 6 laps to go. Huge run from the second and third lines once more. Minter wants the lead back, and he wants
Minter's
it
dead.
And goes around. Caution is out, and Minter is destroyed.
That's kind of like a, that reminds me almost of when Bourdais crashed in turn 2, kind of the same angle. He just got pushed around. He got pushed around by Blake Reynolds. That's all it took. You know, with his bump drafting, we haven't seen anybody get pushed around like we've seen in the Cup cars before. Well, it finally happened, and it absolutely took Tucker Minter for a whale of a ride. He tried to save it and just hooked it straight back into the outside wall. Probably a good thing just because nobody else got involved, but he just got pushed around there, getting into the corner and hard into the outside wall. Both front tires shear off the car. The nose is completely gone, and he joins his teammate as a wrecked race car in the pits.
That brings us down to 12 cars currently on the racetrack as Rush has parked his machine for the time being. Let's take another look at what happened here. You see hard contact when our driver scrapes the wall in that sequence, and that changes a lot. That's going to make things very wild to close things out for this first race, to say the very least.
Yeah, it's only going to give us, I think, about 3 green flag laps. We do have 1 green-white checkered if we need it. I'm surprised Caden Rush left because we've got the second race coming up and we're staying here to do it. So I don't know if he's just not interested in running this second race. He's not running for points. This is his first start in FTF1. And Ethan Quarter has also parked it for now, so I don't know what's up with that, but Adam Martin fools nobody, and everybody else, for the most part, is coming in. Malillo stays out. Jack Painter stays out. Michael Frisch stays out. And Cosman stays out. Everybody else is coming to pit road.
And some of them had no choice but to come in. Matthews Wack demolished front wing. Blake Reynolds demolished front wing on their respective cars. And they may be able to save some time by utilizing that fast repair now instead of taking the extra few seconds to be able to change said wing. We'll have to see what they elect to do here. 5 overall stay out. Reynolds nearly spins it out coming off the pit lane as the first one out. Swack also coming out in second. Butler, Hagenstein, Blussel, Williams, followed by Jake Poulin, who has had to come down and get fuel. That moves him to P12 on the racetrack. The drivers who stayed out, Martin, Malou, Painter, Frisch, and Cosmini and Eshu on the racetrack. We're looking like we may have 3 laps to decide it here. How do you try and plan this winning move? Because it seems that second and third line are very optimal, as we talked about, but the runs are going to be potentially huge, and we may see some aggressive blocking. How do you try and win this, Jacob, with all those variables coming in?
Well, you got to pray that they don't wreck. So you don't go into overtime and get a green-white checker, because that's just going to reset everything and going to make things even wilder. If they can keep it green, make it to the white flag, we're going to have 3 laps. You just got to be in the right place at the right time. They're probably going to wreck on the last lap. If we're able to keep it green, the field's going to fly apart. You just got to be in a position where you're able to avoid it, keep your foot in it, and hope everybody else around you gets collected, just so you don't have to worry coming back around. Otherwise, you may have to pull some blocking, try and side draft, anything that you could do to try and take the lead or try and hang on to the lead and still be in contention to win this thing.
So where do you want to be able to make the winning move? Do you want to be at the front, the middle of the field, or the back of the pack?
I want to be kind of the middle back of the pack. I don't want to lose the draft completely, but I wouldn't want to be too far back as well. I would kind of want to be around the 10th, 12th spot. I think that's probably your safe zone, where if the leaders wreck, you should be all right to avoid it. If you get any closer, you're going to be in trouble.
Tucker Minter, by the way, was able to get his wave to be able to get himself back in the lead lap. That gets us to 13 drivers who will be on the lead lap for this restart. It's going to be an intriguing one, and you have to know that some of these drivers are definitely going to be hungry to try and fight for this race victory here, Jacob. Especially drivers like Malua, like Painter, like Martin, like Frisch. They're going to be very hungry to be able to win this race.
And that's what's going to make this so interesting here. Is there a lot of guys that can win this race and have been at the front all night long? And I think it's going to show, cream rises to the top at the end of this deal. We're going to see the best of the best emerge here and try and win this first race. A lot can happen.
A lot can happen. It's the question of what will happen. Drivers are backing up now, with allowing that pace car to roll in turn 4 while everyone else goes to the short chute. This, remember, allowed a massive launch that took 3/4 of a lap to reel in the last time it was attempted. Martin now utilizing the bottom line as he'll launch his way down the front straightaway. 3 laps to go in the first race for the Freedom 100s.
And they're already 4 wide in the back of the pack. This is what you expect here with 3 to go. Everybody's going to put all the chips in the center of the table here. As long as we make it to the white flag, this is it. They don't get another chance. And Malillo putting the squeeze on Martin in 2. Now washes up. Here comes Painter. He pulls to the bottom.
2 by 2 now amongst your race leaders. They've been able to get a big buffer from the rest of the pack. Now making the move is Frisch. He's now to the lead for the first time. Coming up to 2 laps to go. Adam Martin runs the bottom of the racetrack right up against those rumble strips. Jack Painter's moved up top. He tries to bring Malone with them. Frisch now tries to get the push from behind from Malone with a huge shove. It'll be Frisch who leads with 2 to go.
And here comes the rest of the pack. Zwack just pulled to the outside with a big run. Malillo hit the inside wall and almost turned Frisch, but he's able to hang on. And now here comes Martin to the inside, 3 wide. They all hang on. I don't know how that got close.
That got dangerous as Martin clips the grass once more, getting really squirrely now at the front of the field. Again, if they take the white flag, the checker flag will end it. Now, Malillo pushes the
big wreck. Frisch, Hagenstein's in the wall, in the catch fence. Huge crash. Matthew Zwack is done. And I tell you what, that sent Hagenstein out of the park. He's off in the forest in turn 3.
And that will give us a green-white checkered attempt to close off race number 1 after the big collision Hagenstein-Zwack among the drivers to get the worst of it.
Yeah, yikes.
So that'll mean a 2-lap shootout to decide it, and this could get wild for the end of the first race for the Freedom 100s, to say the very least. Michael Frisch is your race leader for these closing stages. Justin Malillo in second. Martin, Plasso, Poulin, Cosmin, and Eshu round out the top 6 positions for this upcoming restart. 11 drivers currently are on track who are not getting repairs done to the respective race cars. Going to be an intriguing situation to say the very least. Once more, I'd like to remind you that there is a second Freedom 100 coming up as well as part of this round for tonight's action. So we take a look at the bar visuals replay. Three wide coming into the corner, leads to contact with the squeeze, and a hard hit. Malillo and Poulin, by the way, have elected to come down and pit under this caution, but absolutely demolishing several competitors as a result of that contact. Malillo, by the way, had to get Some front wing damage repaired in that sequence. Pullen also collected front wing damage in that incident. That's why they've had to come down and serve some repairs. Again, here's how this will work for the green-white checkered attempt. If they take the white flag, the race is still unofficial in terms of the standings itself, but when it comes to the race itself, the checker flag will close things on out. No caution flag would end that race at that point forward. If there is a caution before the white flag, the race will end under caution. In other words, drivers, their goal, make it to the white flag. Race control has also informed its drivers they will not be throwing a yellow in any situation here. In other words, they will be able to make it towards that white flag mark. Tristan Hagenstein, by the way, has made his way back out on the racetrack. That puts us to 12 competitors on the circuit coming to the one-to-go signal. Michael Frisch is your race leader. Adam Martin, Lucas Plussel, Cosman Ionescu, Butler, Reynolds, Williams, Painter, Minter, Pullen, Malillo, your top 11. Hagenstein will get the wave to make it 12 cars on the lead lap. He'll come around the high side this time by. And it becomes the question of who's going to be able to take the checkered flag to start off the night. Get themselves 30 points for winning the first of the two oval races for the night. We're about to find out how Michael Frisch is going to handle the restart as well. We've seen how powerful the restarts have been when drivers have been able to back up their exit of turn 4 from the iRacing pace car. Currently keeping it nice and close for the time being. Remember the last restart, it wasn't until the back straightaway where they started to back off from the pace car. He is starting to slow down from 75 miles an hour down to about 65. So he is starting to back up a touch from the iRacing pace car here. As well, Jake Pullen and Justin Malillo both came back down once more. Currently as well, with the current inversion spots, Garrett Conrath is currently in the first inversion position. He is currently off the racetrack 13 laps down for this GWC. Just about all set to get back underway with 2 laps to go in race 1 of the Freedoms 100. Drivers now starting their fuel burn and getting their motors ready for the final restart of race 1. iRacing pace car is off. When will Michael Frisch elect to go? He'll wait all the way until the green flag. 2 laps to go in race 1 of the Freedom 100s, and a big bobblehead block to start things off, swerving back and forth with Adam Martin. Martin peeks up to the high side, already 2x2 behind him, make it 3 wide up the middle. Sean Butler trying to find his way to the point. Winning Blake Reynolds with him. Giving a bump draft now to the back end of Martin's machine. Up to the high side. Once more goes Butler and Reynolds. 4 wide right behind him, near contact with Jake Pullen and Cosman Ionescu. They all save it as they'll take the white flag this time by. 2.5 miles to go from the Brickyard. Sean Butler now leads. Trying to move down is Blake Reynolds. 1 car gets shuffled to the wall. Tucker Minter shuffles his way to the top. Jake Pullen goes to the top. Huge blocks from several rows. Sean Butler now blocks the middle. They make contact in the heart of the pack. Butler trying to hold on to the middle of the racetrack for the final set of corners. Who will take the checker flag first? been a contact once more. Michael Fritsch gets turned around into the heart of the field. Butler tries to block all the way to the white line. Huge shove from Reynolds. Tucker Minter gives the bump. Minter ducks out. To the checkered flag, it'll be Sean Butler who wins race 1 of the Freedom 100s. Blake Reynolds second, Tucker Minter third, Lucas Plusso and Jake Poulin round out the top 5 in thrilling fashion. Couple drivers crashing to the inside wall, trying to make the checker flag still. That's Adam Martin. Tyrell Williams also trying to cross the stripe. All from hard contact in the final stages of this race and a wild final lap. And that will close off what was a thrilling race number 1 with Butler taking the win by 0.045 seconds. Take you side by side. Coverage of FTF1 continues after this.
We've been waiting for this moment. Generations of innovation all coming together in one place. The pedigree of more than 70 years of NASCAR Cup Series history. From the past to the present, from Petty to Earnhardt to Elliott. Today, there's no more waiting. The future of NASCAR is now. Drive the next-gen cars today on iRacing and step into the next generation of racing.
Welcome back to STN Racing's coverage of FTF1 after a thrilling finish to the first race for the Freedom 100s. Justin Prince, Jacob Hitz with you with Zach Johnson in the director's seat for tonight's action. What a thrilling way to close things out. A 1-2 for an organization and Sean Butler and Blake Reynolds. And now we get to re-rack them and stack them here, Jacob. Sean Butler, though, gets the chance to celebrate. Sean, you're able to come away with the checkered flag in thrilling fashion. How does it feel to win race number 1 of the Freedom 100s tonight?
I'm just happy to get an FTF win. So as you guys seen through like GNS and all that, I've had some really bad luck over the last few races I've done. So to get one in this feels pretty good. You know, Blake and I kind of, as you guys saw, we kind of experimented with the top like midway through the race, and just like we saw in the SNSL League when you guys were doing it, it just randomly worked, and it ended up working in this one. So we decided to see if it'll work at the end of this one, and we were able to get out front and block probably a little too hard, but you know, it feels good to finally get the win under the belt. So we're looking to make it 2 in a row in the second one.
Talk us through how difficult this combination can be here when it comes to the Dora IR01 here at Indianapolis, because it seems to have flashes of Michigan when it comes to the runs, but it's also seemingly very much more difficult with how tight it is here.
Right. Yep. It's very similar to Michigan. The only thing that's the huge difference here is, of course, Indy's so flat and Michigan's banked. So if you're pushing someone like you saw in this race, if you notice, all the guys in the bottom are washing up all the time. It's really hard to see the corner when you're pushing somebody. So you got to really anticipate when the corner's coming, just to kind of like not wash up into everybody. So it's tough to kind of get a gauge, but once you figure it out, you can really make some headway, no matter what line you're using. And Michigan is just so wide, you can go anywhere and you have some leeway, but you can go 3, 4, 5 wide. But here, of course, it's a lot tighter and a lot flatter, so it's definitely a little more challenging as compared to Michigan was earlier.
Now, what's your approach now for the invert? You're going to be starting 15th. How do you try and cut your way to the field with Blake?
I kind of want to treat it similarly, because like in this race, we kind of just like hung in the back and waited for stuff to happen, and then stuff started happening around us. So it's so difficult, especially with this combination, to gauge what's going to happen. So we're just going to try to avoid the wrecks and be there at the end, and we'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much for the time, Sean.
Thank you, guys.
Sean Butler off to the race car, and off to the grid we go for race number 2 for the Freedom 100s, as Garrett Conrath is the driver who wins the invert as a result of his misfortunes in race number 1 and scoring the last of said points. It'll be Caden Rush who will start on the outside of the front row with Matthew Swack and Tristan Hagenstein in row 2, Cosmin Ionishu in Adam Martin in row 3. Tyra Williams, Justin Malone, row 4, Michael Frisch and Jack Painter round out your top 10, Jacob.
11th, Jake Poulin, and then Lucas Plossel to his outside. Tucker Minter, then Blake Reynolds, 13th, 14th. Your winner, Sean Butler, starts on the 15th spot. Then Ben Fanning, Ethan Corder, I think, is here. Matt Spalding, Mo Perry, Isaac Johnson. Johnson is not running. He didn't run the last one. He's not running this one. And Corder is not running this one. But everybody else is here, so we're down to 17 cars that will make the start, because Caden Rush, who's supposed to be starting second, he will not grid. And Michael Frisch is MIA, but I'm pretty sure he will. I don't think he's left. Oh, okay, well, I'm wrong. He's not gridded. So we'll make it 16 cars left for this race.
That'll move Tristan Hagenstein, by the way, up a row, as well as the other drivers on the outside line. But we've seen how crazy race 1 got, with race 2 now starting to approach sunset. In sim time, 8:21 p.m. What's your approach now to try and win the second one, especially knowing that the track is getting cooler and the air temp's starting to drop?
Ask your crew to attach 2 iPhones with the flashlights on to the front wing so you can see where you're going, because we're going to be here a while, and I can't guarantee that they're going to be able to see by the end of the race just because of how far the sun is down. Like right now, I think we're in a spot similar to where we were at Indy a couple of years ago when Casey Kane won, because green and white checkers and the overtime line and everything else. I think that was 2017. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that's kind of where we're headed right now. It's kind of the daylight we have left, and these guys are they might be a little more careful and just try and plow through these first 30 laps so we can get through it and not burn too much daylight. But then in the last 10 laps, business as usual. The volcano is going to erupt. As first will start from pit road, everybody else is going to start from the racetrack.
We'll see how race number 2 fares for the Freedom 100s tonight. It's going to be an intriguing start here as we get ready, as they'll delay the yellow flag here. They'll delay the start and add an extra pace lap.
Is that to let Frisch in, or what?
Waiting for confirmation, as I think the reason is Matt Spalding may have broke his front tire. Before the race even started, Matt Spalding ended up with a broken tire after he ended up slamming to the inside wall down the front straightaway.
Oh, wow. He broke it on the initial launch. Out of the gate here on the front straightaway, going back to the replay, he broke it. He didn't get going, and then when he did, it's like he wasn't even holding the steering wheel. The thing just turned to the left and then into the inside wall right before the scoring pylon, and then he started going again. What in the world?
A tough situation for him as he is still in the pit lane at the moment. as now we will get the one to go now. So we'll try this again. Remember the fuel window, 25 to 30 laps for our competitors tonight. So that is something to keep in mind if we get a long green flag run here tonight.
Does fuel consumption count under pacing before we get the green flag?
Yes. That's how cars work.
Oh, I would assume so, but I wasn't sure if iRacing had any special mechanism in there that when we had to extend that opening pace lap or something. That's going to make it tougher fuel strategy wise here, depending on how cautions fly and everything. So this could get fun.
Garrett Conrath in control of the field here. Initial start, they will launch off Barney the Flagman. Race 2 for the Freedom 100s is ready to go. We're underway once more from the Brickyard. And a poor launch for Conrath as the inside line checks up. A huge launch for Hagenstein.
Asleep at the switch as they went into turn one. Hagenstein, he pretty much just said, see you later. But Adam Martin, we got people bouncing off the wall in the back of the field. Mo Perry in the wall. Somebody else back there had damage, and I think just Alt F Ford. Spalding disconnected. Well, I don't think that was Spalding, but I'm not sure.
Well, the other one is Morpheus Perry.
Yeah, Perry just lost the right front wheel. He's coasting down the back straightaway. As these guys are still battling up front.
Right now in the race lead, it's Adam Martin. Now being pushed by Garrett Conrath. Matthew Zwack in the middle of the racetrack. Tristan Hagenstein's been shuffled already on the top line to end off the first lap. That brings us down to 15 cars still running on the racetrack for the time being, as Plussel has to slide up the racetrack and play a bit defensively now as they're going 3 wide up the middle. Huge shot up the middle from Tucker Minter.
They tried 4 wide there too, but the car way up top. Tristan Hagenstein didn't quite have the run in order to make it work, but Adam Martin still leading the way. Zwack leads the outside line, and it's the 1 and the 2, the teammates that are kind of the pushers here. 1 on the inside, 1 on the outside.
Side by side once more for the race lead. Coming to the end of the second lap, and that push will move Matthew Zwack to the point. So one of those blue and white machines is out of the race. The other one's at the point. By the way, some of the drivers who are involved in the inversion, Blake Reynolds has only gotten to 13th, but among the drivers who are starting to make moves is Sean Butler. He's up to 10th and starting to close in with a huge run on the top line to close up a bit of a gap that was starting to form.
Trying to do everything they can to catch up here early on. You don't want to fall too far back, just in case for some reason we don't have a caution for a while. You know, Frisch, he's 12 seconds back on the leaders right now because he didn't make it to the grid in time. So if these guys are able to keep it clean for a while, he's going to be in trouble and in danger of being lapped.
Already lost 10 seconds as a result of having to start from the pit lane from missing the grid for tonight's race. Rather, race number 2. As Zwack gets the push. Once more near 3 wide as Tucker Minter clips the grass, forces him to back off, and allows Lucas Plussel along with Zwack to move back down to the inside groove. Some great racing early on in this one. Nice clean racing as well with the amount of grip starting to pick up. But watch those teammates start to hook up. Conrath is now hooked up with Minter. And guess who they're bringing? Sean Butler.
Get ready, because here I come. That's what Sean Butler's singing in his head right now as he's plowing his way through the field. He's got a good shot to sweep here, but he's just got to keep the car clean as the teammates there on the outside line, Minter and Conrath. Now they're trying to break up this inside group and get a shot here at the front. Here comes Painter on the outside as well.
Jack Painter really had to lift that time into the corner as he cut his way towards the outside wall. Still though, Zwack trying to play the safe route for the time being, and that's going to be the key thing, is keeping those fast repairs in check for some. It got them into trouble later on, but put them into the position to be at the front for the second race to be able to bounce back.
And I think at this point, these guys are used to running in a pack at full speed with this many cars. With the first race, they weren't really used to it. In practice, they only really had 4 or 5 cars in a pack at a time. The first race was trial by fire with 10 or more cars in a pack. Now they're used to it. They ran 40 laps with it. Now they're able to manage things a little bit better because they kind of know what their car is going to do in the draft with so many cars around them, that they're able to make moves and know that, okay, I can do this without wrecking anybody. I can do this and wipe out half the field. Got to be careful.
They've definitely picked up on a few things as this race and the night has gone on, as we fall on board with Painter side by side with Martin for the time being. He's trying to still utilize that top groove as Martin clips the grass and nearly slipped up into him. Able to keep things nice and straight, though, at the very front of the field. Jake Poulin also getting a run to get back to the bottom. Massive check at the back of the main group, with Tyrell Williams and Benjamin Fanning nearly making contact.
Everybody is in this lead pack. The only guy that isn't in this top pack right now is Frisch, who's 14 seconds back. Everybody else is in this lead pack. 12 cars under a second from the leader. Reynolds and Melillo just hanging back just a little more than a second behind these guys, so that they're all there now.
They're all there and waiting for an opportunity to strike. Still a long ways away in this race. Tristan Hagenstein now moves up. One driver may have scraped a bit of the wall. Butler has lost a bit of time to the back end of the main pack, by the way, after falling behind Jake Poulin. So it looks like those drivers are starting to back up a little bit. All while the drivers continue to race hard.
I think they realized how close they were to the front of the pack and thought, maybe we should back up a little bit just in case something happens. We're not even a quarter of the way through the race, so give them some breathing room. Let's relax a little bit, maybe test some things out just amongst the 3 of us or 4 of us, just to see what we can and can't get away with runs-wise when we try and claw our way through the field. But as soon as I say that, here comes Butler and Reynolds storming up the high side with a big run down the backstretch.
And I think that's why they may have backed up. The importance of teamwork. Do you want to have your teammate lined up behind you this early on, or do you want to try and navigate later on? It seems like the answer so far is they want to stay lined up like a super speedway with their friends.
Well, but we saw bump drafting not work earlier, and I tell you what, Sean Butler just got the wall down the front straightaway. He's got to be careful. These guys that are pushing and shoving as the 2 leaders make contact. Oh, that's big. In the catch fence. Horrible crash.
Caution is out immediately. Sean Butler off the racetrack. Hard contact for half the main pack.
At least. I mean, that was huge. Adam Martin is all torn up. Blake Reynolds has damage. I think Fanning made it through. Hagenstein's junk. Conrath, Zwack, Butler. They all had to tow. They're missing at least 2 wheels. Hagenstein's got the right front wheel up on top of the tub down the back straightaway. Frisch has, I think, I'm not sure if Frisch has damage. Blake Reynolds. Adam Martin's riding the wall in turn 3. This is a mess.
So it's Matthew Zwack who ends up being the trigger, it seemed, the bottom line, because he ends up getting launched off the ground, and several more ended up getting collected along the safer burials. You'll see with the bar visuals replay. Watch the bottom line, front of the group.
Yeah, great shot here from the blimp. You're going to see Zwack. They're going to make contact right there, and Zwack's going to get turned by Plossel then. And that just tips it all off. And Tucker Minter looks in his rearview mirror and sees at least 2 or 3 cars just cheese grate along the catch fence there. Conrath winds up deep in the fence. Hagenstein catches air. Poulin rides the outside safer barrier. I mean, that is huge. Look at Hagenstein's car whipping down the... No, that wasn't even Hagenstein, I don't think, that was whipping like that. Oh, no, it was. I'm wrong. It was Adam Martin that was up by the wall. Man, oh, man. That was huge.
Counting at least 6+ cars are involved. That brings just 9 drivers who are currently running behind the iRacing pace car. Here's an air look from the heart of the pack. This is from Martin.
I think we have 7 involved in this, if I'm counting right. 7 or 8. I mean, wow. That is the big one.
Huge hit for Martin in that sequence, and you can see how he tries to get himself down the racetrack to be able to not have to use the tow, but half the field plus.
And Sean Butler, his wreck was so violent, he disappeared before anything really even happened. I mean, he just hit the catch fence and boom, gone. Immediately towed back to pit road. So I don't know where he would have wound up. It wasn't like he got too high and wound up over the catch fence, unless iRacing thinks he would have gone through the catch fence, which is certainly possible at the speed that they were going. But my gosh, a violent crash for those guys.
Nowhere for Reynolds to go as he gets slammed hard into the outside wall. Once again, that is Zwack that's in front of him. You can see just how much difficulty and how much work it takes just to be able to drive that car with a broken wheel. By the way, everyone has come down to the pit lane. Williams was the first driver off, followed by Tucker Minter. Jack Painter, Cosman Ionescu, Jake Poole and Lucas Plusso, Justin Melillo, Michael Frisch, and then Tristan Hagenstein, with the drivers lined up the top 9.
And still on pit road are Butler, Zwack, Conrath, and Fanning. Everybody else is going.
By the way, one driver who is trying to get going in their pit box to spin around after semi-finding their way to the stall, I think, was Garrett Conrath. He may have just popped his motor after spinning the car around a 360 in his pit stall. A lot of drivers trying to sort themselves out here. The drivers who will get their lead lap back under the caution: Blake Reynolds, Adam Martin, at the very minimum here. This does get us inside the fuel window estimates, though. We will say that much at least. But it's going to get interesting how this all plays out. Sean Butler will also get his wave as a result of this caution flag 1 to go. Let's take a look at the upcoming events here on SDN Racing on that note, and what's the biggest incident of them all today. Here for the Freedom 100s, here for race number 2. Coming up, FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals. Action goes to Lucas Oil Raceway, also known as IRP, across the street from here. That will take place tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Then Four Corners Racing League heads to Charlotte Motor Speedway at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday, May the 31st. And don't forget, second split action for the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series heads to the Paperclip, Martinsville Speedway, on Thursday, June the 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. A lot of great action coming up, and I'm really curious how Martinsville is going to go for some drivers, because for some, they may have already used their drop and are going to be very urgently driving there. For others, it's going to be the fine balance of staying clean while staying up at the front.
I'm sorry, staying clean at Martinsville?
You get what I mean. You get what I mean. You don't want to get demolished at the same time.
I called a league race there a couple of months ago, and I believe we set the league record for cautions. Not there, but we got close. I think we were within 1 or 2 cautions of the record that we set at another short track, believe it or not, Lanier. So Martinsville, we're going to get very familiar with the term I-pacing after a while, I'm sure of it.
Meanwhile, our drivers for FTF1 are ready to go back racing. Williams in control of the field at the front of the pack. Green flag is out, backing away.
And they almost wrecked in the back. You had guys like Sean Butler almost running people over back there, and Hagenstein who thought they were going, but they weren't going at all. And Garrett Conrath has parked the car, so he's done for the night.
Inside line's already formed. Outside line, Michael Frisch bringing Tucker Minter to the point. Spud Cauliflower Machine now leads the race. And Tucker Minter's been a very dominant driver tonight. When he's had some help, he's been able to bring command. Tyler Williams with a big checkup. One driver with a bit of contact there in the heart of the group was Adam Martin. Looks like he's going to be okay as he drives to the top line.
Yeah, they all bottled up right behind Frisch, trying to avoid running into the back of Frisch, because Frisch kind of sliced and diced his way into second, but didn't really make a lot of friends in the process. But he doesn't care. He's going for the win, and right on the rear spoiler of Tucker Minter down the back stretch.
You've seen how close it was for him in race 1. Ended up being one of the front runners for the final laps before that GWC. Now, meanwhile, you see some of the drivers sort themselves out. The pushing and shoving continues on the top and bottom lines now. And you can see just how squirrely it is, just trying to make sure you're straightening yourself up and push properly right at the very edge of that diffuser.
And it doesn't help when the guy in front of you is weebling and wobbling, because then the car behind you is going to have to weeble and wobble, and that's when things can get hairy as, oh man, pulling, I think, got the wall, and everybody has to check up on the high side.
Adam Martin gets the worst end of the time lost from it, though. He'll lose several positions as a result of that checkup. Michael Frisch wants to take the race lead, though. He poked to the outside. Got no one else that wanted to go with him, though.
Yeah, he kind of hit that wall of air getting down the back straightaway, headed to turn 3, and he figured, all right, I might as well just get back to the bumper of the 1. I'll probably be safer there anyway, so I don't lose 10 spots.
24 laps to go. That time by it down at the stripe. And some of the teammates are now starting to line up with one another. Tyler Williams hooked up with Jack Painter. You also still have drivers such as Malilla trying to hook up with Cosmin Ionescu. You also have Sean Butler has laid off the rest of the pack and has lost the draft with Matthew Zwack. Everyone else starting to choo-choo train along the bottom of the racetrack as there's those cars who have lost the pack. They've lost 3 seconds.
I thought Frisch was going to turn Minter there in turn 4. That got very scary, very close. But here comes Williams and Painter. They've got to run. They're getting to the back bumper of Frisch. Where are they going to go?
Evening out a little bit in terms of that speed, and you can see just trying to find a clean air pocket as well. Keep in mind that the air wash can still affect these cars a little bit. Here with this chassis is a little bit of a squirrely moment for Frisch that time coming off the corner.
You got one in the grass. Everybody's trying to avoid. I think Hagenstein's broke. He's got a broken left front tire and suspension.
And that's going to take him out of contention for the time being after he made contact with Martin, possibly trying to find a hole at the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, somebody got the grass down the back straightaway, and everybody checked up, and Hagenstein was the one that checked up at the wrong time and just bopped whoever was in front of him, and that's what broke the suspension on the car.
Minter nearly getting hooked from a bump that time for Frisch right against the edge of the front wing as both of them get squirrely. And it seems as the tires burn and the fuel gets more and more lighter, or rather the car gets more and more lighter, the more and more squirrely and the harder it is to be able to bump draft in tandem like they've been doing all night.
Cars get so light, you're going to pick them right up off the ground when you run into them like that. So it's certainly possible as the leaders blow by Hagenstein, who's going to make it to pit road.
At the very minimum, going to lose at least a lap, if not possibly 2, trying to get his fast repair done as a result of his incident. Approaching 10 laps into this run, coming up to halfway this time by still 13 cars on the lead lap with 10 in the main pack. Jake Poulin has fallen adrift from the lead group, keep in mind, by 3 seconds. Butler and Zwack are not gaining any time to this group. They are losing about a second a lap to all these drivers in the choo-choo train.
Gotta wonder, Butler and Zwack stayed on pit road for more than 3 minutes. Gotta wonder if they didn't take their fast repair expecting another caution. And they may still have a little bit of damage to their cars, and that's why they decided to save the fast repair and think, okay, maybe we'll be able to hang around, but their cars just may be too far off the pace, and that's why they're falling back.
Or they're saving the fast repair, or rather they want to use the fast repair and try to make sure they save the cars they have. We'll see.
Oh, Frisch in the grass.
And I think he's going to duck to the outside and let drivers go now. That's Tyler Williams. Tucker Minter wants to stay with Michael Frisch, so move Tyler Williams to the lead car on the inside line. And now they're starting to scatter after being single file for about 5 laps.
But now Frisch, he got hooked up with Minter again, and they're going to go back to the lead. How about that?
It's pretty clear that Tucker Minter's got a lot of confidence in Michael right now and his pushing ability. They were dead even on lap time last time by, 14-1, or rather a 43-103.
Tristan Hagenstein, after he broke that left front suspension, he's parked the car, so he is done for the race.
That'll give him the last points paying position. Remember, on the ovals, it is the top 15 who score points, plus the fastest lap. Jake Poulin has the fastest lap at the moment, a 41.485, set earlier in this race when the pack was all together.
Yeah, they're not going to set that now. With the way these cars are, if we get another restart and everybody comes down and pits, we may see that fastest lap happen again. Otherwise, I don't think anybody's going to top what Poulin set.
Blake Reynolds wants to go. He's now bringing Justin Malou with him on the high side. Bit of a squeeze from Malou, nearly making tire-to-tire contact, but Lucas Plussel, that'll lose them a little bit of time. Blake Reynolds tucks back in line to pick back up the draft. And now we'll move into line. That ditches Malou on the top as well. That was Reynolds.
Wow, that got scary. I thought he was going to hit the outside wall and come right back down in front of everybody. Great car control from him.
And that's why he's in the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series as well. What awareness to be able to avoid running into the back end of the car in front when there was that checkup you just seen. As Reynolds wants to go once more as he hooks up with two of the Traxton GG sponsored machines. 16 laps to go, this time by. As a bit more harder contact, Michael Frisch with a hard bit of contact to the back end of Tucker Minter that time. May have just avoided front wing damage rather. You can see how close they're getting.
There have been a couple of times where I thought Frisch was going to send Minter around with the contact that he's pulled, especially on quarter exit, coming off 2 and coming off 4. But Frisch is wheeling that thing, man. I don't know how he hasn't taken out Minter or himself yet.
Got a bit close there that time on that little bobble once more. Got a little close again. They're getting closer and closer to that risk now. Michael Frisch is lucky he hasn't damaged that front wing yet.
And the more that he has to lift off a Minter, that's going to help Williams, Painter, Reynolds, and everybody else in this lead pack to get by him.
In-sim time, by the way, is approaching 9 p.m. You can see how much the sun is set across the racetrack. So visibility may start to become a factor if we start to get attrition building up in caution flags. The track temp has also dropped by at least 4+ degrees Fahrenheit since the drop of the green flag in this respective race, as Blake Reynolds now leads the second line and brings a conga line with them.
Bringing in the recruits there on the high side with Adam Martin. There's another one back there. Can't quite tell who it is, but man, Frisch is not giving up on that inside line. No doubt about it.
At the very least, you can tell Reynolds wants to go. He's been able to now jump up to 4th position. Will he break up the teammates down low? No. In fact, he'll stay up on the high line. Wants to stay with Martin, Malou, Lucas Plussel, as well Benjamin Fanning trying to stay within the group on the high line as well. Coming up to 13 laps to go. This race has been flying on by compared to the first one, where drivers were feeling things out.
We've only had, what, one caution in here thus far, other than the extended pace lap. So they've been able to make it pretty far so far. And I'm hearing Tucker Minter talking about pitting here. They're going to be close to making it to the end. I think it might be too close, and they're going to have to pit again.
And here comes the big question. How do you approach the pit entry here if you're some of these drivers, if that ends up coming to fruition?
Panic. I don't think anybody expected to have a green flag pit stop here. Are you crazy?
Okay, let me phrase it this way. How do you enter the pit lane here in Indianapolis without causing trouble?
When you come on the pit road, you hit the brakes and try not to hit the car in front of you or get rear-ended from the car behind you. I don't think it's too difficult here, Justin.
I mean how different it is compared to here at Indianapolis, especially with the speeds being carried. Compared to some of the air tracks.
Yeah, you're going to be going about 200 mile an hour and have to get down to 55 by the time you get to the pit road. And that's not easy. These things don't stop on a dime. Tucker Minter's talking about pitting in a lap or two here. So this is really interesting. He's talking about pitting and then drafting and getting by everybody else. So we'll see.
11 laps to go this time. Justin Malone wants to leapfrog. The rest of the main pack is still single file. Keep in mind, Sean Butler, Jake Pullen are still 7 seconds behind as they pass by Morpheus Perry, who has come down for service. Matthews Wack has also come down for a pit stop of 3.1 seconds. So drivers have been pitting at the back part of the field so far. The question is, who will blink first in the lead group coming at 10 to go?
Yeah, if they have to pit in the back, they absolutely will not make it here up at the front because these guys have been full throttle. Like Minter, he's been full throttle at the front the whole time. So those in the back that have been in the draft, if they can't make it on fuel, everybody's going to have to pit here, and things are going to get a bit chaotic as, oh man, I thought Minter was going to drive head on into the attenuator. Holy cow.
That was scary. With 10 laps to go, nearly head on into the wall. Sean Butler has ducked down to the pit lane as well from the 11th position. So make it now 11 drivers who haven't taken service yet during this green flag run.
You got to wonder how many of these guys, probably third on back, that are going to try and stay out as long as they can just in case a caution comes out to keep them out in front. I mean, they're going to have to pit, obviously, and I think the guys that just pitted will come in. But still, this is, Minter's getting awfully close, man. I don't know how many laps he can do that without slamming into it and killing Fritsch behind him.
You have to wonder if he's trying to fake somebody out by thinking that he's going down to the pit lane when he really isn't.
Oh, heck, who's he faking?
I mean, there's a whole pack of drivers on the bottom line who would try and follow him in towards the pit lane.
But everybody's going to be pitting. The thing is if Minter comes in, he just needs one other person to come in with him so he can get the draft. And oh my, I thought Fritsch was going to turn him right there on the straightaway. That got close. But Minter was talking about pitting with somebody else so he could get the draft. Yeah, my gosh. They're going to die here, I'm telling you.
How hasn't he hit the wall? My goodness.
Great car control. And Fritsch hasn't been pushing him when they get to that point in the track, so Minter's able to turn the wheel to the right and not get hooked straight into the outside wall.
Coming up to 7 laps to go as some of the teammates are starting to hook back up together. Justin Malone is making some great ground up, by the way, in the high line, all by himself, carrying 215 miles an hour. That's again with no help, just trying to squeeze drivers in the high line. You can see him trying to form things up.
Here we go.
And, oh!
For sure, I thought he was pitting there with how far he came down. And he cranked it dead right. He's lucky that Fritsch gave him room.
Again, very scary. Coming up now to 6 to go. Does he do it again, or does he come down for real? By the way, Malone has moved his way up to 3rd, and he is going for a run up with the top group.
They're about 3 laps out from the window. Getting to the end. Been running out of fuel. And yeah, does it again. It's gotten a little less impressive now. He's done it 5 times, kind of expected at this point, but these guys have about 2-3 laps left comfortably. After that, it kind of gets shady. For Minter and Fritsch up at the front, they're going to have a lot less fuel left compared to the guys like Plossel, Martin, and Cosman, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And don't forget, you have Jake Pullen, who's been saving fuel without any help, who is 17 seconds behind. He may be a factor here as well, possibly.
It's possible because Butler is only 20 seconds behind Pullen. So it is possible there.
see how this time fares, and I think he's realized everyone's picked up on his stick. 5 laps to go, this time by. High five from Barney the Flagman.
Hopefully it doesn't turn into a facepalm here by the time these guys come around again.
Our longest green flag run for either of the Freedom 100s tonight has been this one, 24 laps plus. They are approaching lap traffic. Matthew Zwack and Sean Butler are getting reeled in by about half a second to a second a lap.
And Poulin's right there as well, too.
Poulin's all the way in turn 2, keep in mind.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong thing on the timing and scoring. That's why. Oh, he hit it! Oh, he hit it! He hit the wall. Fresh, big crash. Malillo, Adams, Martin on top of somebody. Where's the caution? There it is. Finally, Blake Reynolds all torn up.
And Tucker Minter did that several times, and eventually he was going to make that mistake and did. Wow.
So here's the thing: Tucker Minter, his car has damage. He is leading, and he still has a fast repair. He can still win this race. I don't know if the officials are going to like that. Is Michael Frisch? He's lost all 4 tires. That's how bad this crash was for him. Wow. I mean, wow.
I don't know what to say.
Too late. He moved too late, but it wasn't even... I don't even think they made contact with the wall as much as he came back up into Frisch, and Frisch just didn't expect him to come back up. Frisch makes the move, and then Minter makes the move, and he did catch the wall, and then he comes right back up into Frisch, and Frisch didn't give him enough room. And then everybody else scatters, rear-ending happens, Malillo piles into the back of, or no, that's not Malillo, that's Cosman that absolutely clobbers the back of Frisch. And keeps going. Sean Butler, no, not Sean Butler. That's Blake Reynolds. He gets a piece of it. Adam Martin is in it.
That's not going to be a popular move, let's put it that way. That happened nearly at least 5 times before and ended up developing, and that puts us in GWC territory after our longest green flag run of the race. Here's a look one more time. Wow.
I mean, these guys just keep piling in back here. Mo Perry in it. Or no, I think that was Fanning that piled in. Here's the onboard with, I believe, Cosman. Yep.
See how quick this all reacts. Just nowhere for him to go.
Yeah, he thought he was in the right place at the right time, and then there sits Frisch. Just nothing he could do about it. He didn't get too much damage. He lost the nose cone, but not a lot of suspension damage, all things considered. Then when he caught the wall there, that kind of screwed up the suspension a little bit. But, well, now we're split because here comes a lot of folks, but Malillo, Painter, Williams, and Zwack are going to stay out. Zwack already pitted. Malillo, Painter, and Williams are staying out. They're going to try and make it here in green-white checker territory. I don't know if this is going to work.
But remember, the window was as far as 30, so these drivers may have the opportunity to potentially make it. We'll have to see if they can do so. So, here's the reset. After a caution flag, after a driver hit the attenuator wall down the front straightaway, dividing the pit road from the front stretch, Justin Malillo is now your leader, staying out. Jack Painter and Tyra Williams, 2nd and 3rd. Tucker Minter comes out in 5th position behind Matthew Zwack. Cosman Ionescu will come out in 6th. Jake Poulin is in 7th. Sean Butler is in 8th position. Blake Reynolds is still getting damage repairs done in 9th. Benjamin Fanning is currently scored 10th. Frisch and Perry are laps down at the moment. The drivers who have used fast repairs this race: Zwack, Cosman, Butler, Reynolds, Fanning, Frisch, Perry, Martin, Plussel. A long list of drivers.
And Tucker Minter has been black flagged. He was given an EOL penalty. Now he's been black flagged. So Tucker Minter is not going to win this race here, it sounds like. End of story.
Yep, absolutely. Either way, We're back to a GWC finish, and it was a thrower the last time. How do you try and play this out this time? After how tight it got for some last time, and teamwork being critical at the first race.
Well, knowing Melillo, he's going to probably try and block everything he can here after the restart and after everybody gets to him. Personally, if I was in the lead here on this restart, I would not try and get the jump. I would just kind of go when everybody expects me to go and, you know, let everybody get by me, because I'll have another lap to build up momentum and try and plow my way through the field. I don't want to fall back too much. I want to fall back to maybe 5th at the worst. But try and stay in the top 5. If you can hook up with somebody to get to the front, great. If not, you'll probably be able to do it all by yourself at this point with how many cars are left. And just try and plow your way through the field. If they crash, avoid it, ideally, and then have a shot to win the thing. But if I'm leading this thing, you're sitting duck. Nobody wants to be leading here with 2 to go coming to the white flag. So, pretty much you just got to fall to the back and hope for the best.
Michael Frisch, by the way, has caught up to the pack. Drivers are able to get their laps back in this sequence. Lucas Plusso and Adam Martin, though, are ready. 2 laps down and still getting damage repairs done. Already, Justin Melillo is backing up from the pace car, so this is going to be an intriguing restart. It's different from how Frisch handled the first restart that ended, or rather the restart that ended off race number 1, where he waited for the green. This is allowed, keep in mind, but it has to be executed perfectly if you're Justin Melillo here.
At this point, he's probably trying to save as much fuel as he can just to make sure that he can make it, because they're going to hit 30 laps while coming to the white flag. So they got to be careful.
2 laps to decide it. iRacing pace car is already off. Melillo waits and holds them. Green flag is out. Final 2 laps for race number 2 of the Freedom 100s. And already they're snaking their way down the front straightaway, trying to block their way to the inside line.
I was surprised Melillo took the outside layer, but he was able to get to the bottom and cover it well. But here comes Painter and Williams. They've hooked up, and I think they're going to go places here now. But Cosman's there to help Melillo.
Teammates now working on the inside of the outside line. Zwack now finding some help now, and Sean Butler, who's trying to go for the sweep. 3 wide, multiple rows deep, a bit of contact as now Melillo's clear of the front of the field, clipping the grass, coming up to the white flag. 1 car hits the wall. 1 more
Zwack
drains the park. That is Zwack as they take the white flag this time by.
Yeah, Zwack got spaced force there. Also involved in that was Poulin. He got pushed back in turn 3, but a tough break for Zwack there. He kind of got ramped off of somebody. I think it was Blake Reynolds.
Whoa.
And they're wrecking again. Big crash. Oh, man. We got 5 cars left.
Jack Painter, Michael Frisch, John Butler amongst those drivers as the battle for the race win comes down to 1 final set of corners. 3 wide. More contact. Minter gets hit. Melillo holds on to the bottom. Will Cosman duck out? Morpheus Perry from 9th position on the white flag lap, trying to take it away to the checkered flag. Melillo will take the checkered and win the 2nd Freedom 100.
Wow. He played that perfectly. Had a great teammate in Cosman behind him to push him to the end. I think if Williams and Mo Perry hooked up there, I think they would have had something for Melillo coming to the line. But as soon as they pulled out to make it 3 wide, that made Melillo's life a heck of a lot easier, and he was able to get it done. Great show.
And Justin Melillo, your race winner for the 2nd race of the Freedom 100s. And Justin has been looking for this type of a win for a long time in FTF competition on iRacing. Finally gets the checkered flag here tonight. He takes the checkered by 0.046 seconds over his teammate, Tyler Williams, Morpheus Perry, Jake Poole in the top 5. As Tyler Williams, by the way, has just ran out of gas. It was that close for these drivers who stayed out.
And Melillo, he's doing burnouts right now, and he was on the same fuel mileage as Williams. So, oh, he just hit the wall.
He's going to be very pumped up in that race car, to say the very least, and I think he's may have ran out of fuel now as well.
Yep, he's out.
With that, let's take a look at your race results, as Malolo is the man who takes the win in race number 2 of the Freedom 100s. Overall, just a grand total of 6 drivers take the checker flag. Cosman, Ionescu, Williams, Perry, Poulin, and Reynolds are the rest of those drivers. The rest of the drivers had incidents in the closing stages inside the top 10. Jack Painter, Michael Frisch, Sean Butler in 9th. Benjamin Fanning rounded out your top 10, Jacob.
Tucker Minter, he led, I think, the most laps tonight. Just that costly mistake running into the attenuator. He finishes in the 11th spot, with Matthew Zwack finishing in 12th. Adam Martin finishes 13th. Lucas Plossel 14th. Neither of them finished this race. They finished 6 laps down. Then Hagen Stein, Garrett Conrath, Matt Spalding, Caden Rush, Ethan Corder, Isaac Johnson. They did not start, and Matt Spalding was out in a lap because of contact before the green flag, and then contact once we got the green flag. That's your field of 20 for this second Freedom 100.
It was an intriguing race, to say the very least, but for Justin Malillo, I think he's going to be very pumped up. He was 8th in race number 1, was one of the drivers who tried to make some moves several times, and I think he's among those competitors who are going to be smiling after this one, after what was an eventful race number 2. Your thoughts on how race number 2 played out, Jacob?
I can't believe they kept it as clean as they did for as long as they did, to be completely honest. I kind of thought we would see more cautions after that first race, but these guys did a great job of keeping the second one clean until the end. Like, I figured it was going to all fall apart and the wheels were going to fall off the wagon, but they still put on an incredible show with that green and white checker. And sure, we only had 6 cars finish out of the 13 that started that green flag run, but it was still an incredible battle up front. And Malillo and Cosman, they played that perfectly up at the front.
With that, Justin Malillo is now joining us from Victory Lane. And Justin, you've done it. How does it feel to be a winner in FTF1?
It just feels good to win. I haven't done that on FTF on iRacing yet, and it's the FTF1 series, and it's awesome. It's awesome. I had Cosman right behind me. I don't know how he got to my back bumper there on the restart, but it worked out. It couldn't have worked out more perfectly.
Now, talk us through the final lap, as you had to play defense and you've seen the craziness starting to develop. Talk us through those final laps when it came down to not only the positioning, but potentially fuel for some.
Well, I knew that fuel was going to be close if we would have ran it green. So I started saving at the very beginning of the second to last restart that we had, and we had enough to make it. I started making moves on the outside to try and get the positioning because I didn't know who else was saving fuel. When I got myself into third place, I got on the radio and I was like, Frisch, if you want to pass him, let's pass him. I didn't get a response from him. Then Tucker did whatever he did and ended up taking out Frisch there, and it's like I fell into my lap there. Once I got the restart, I knew if I could hold it low and I could get somebody right behind me, it as long as I didn't get like net coated or wrecked, it was going to happen, and I'm so glad it did finally.
And overall, you mentioned the amount of work it's taken to get yourself in the situation here on iRacing. Just what are the emotions like after all the times you've come close in FTF competition on iRacing to finally get that victory here now tonight? What are kind of those emotions like, especially with all the work you do for FTF?
It's like I said, it's just great to win. I think last year when I won the Indy 500 in my split, that was very special going through with 200 laps there. I don't win often on iRacing. iRacing, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better at it every day. I'm still going to show up tomorrow night and probably run last in the GNS field if I even make the field. So I'm still learning this sim. I'm still trying to learn the different nuances and the different tips and tricks to try and better myself. I'm definitely feeling a little bit more comfortable in an open wheel car than I am in a stock car. Once I figure out those stock cars, though, it's gonna be special winning one of those. But it is special to finally win at FTF. I haven't been close many times, but when I am close, it stings a little because you're right there, and you may not get another opportunity with how much talent there is at this league. So really cool to finally get one.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
I'll definitely want to thank you guys for putting on this show. We didn't ask you guys to, but you guys showed up. Zach, he's been doing it even without a broadcast the entire season. So thank you to all of you guys over at STN for putting this on. Thank you to everybody who supports FTF. And thank you to just thank you.
Thank you for the time. Congratulations, Justin, on finally breaking through here for the victory tonight.
Thank you, Justin.
Justin Malillo, your winner for race 2 of the Freedom 100s. An emotional night, Jacob, especially the work that Justin Malillo has put in for FTF competition. To finally see him win, it's definitely a big moment here for this year in FTF competition as a whole.
Certainly great to see him get to victory lane. He's always prominent when he's out on the racetrack. There's no doubt about it. And to see him be able to break through tonight, it is certainly fun to watch. He had his teammate there with him to bring it on home. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to talk to Cosman, but it's just great to see him to get the win. But we do have an update on third. We are looking at scoring and looking at what happened on the racetrack. It looks like Tyler Williams, he was scored in third spot, but barely, by inches, maybe a 16th of an inch. It looks like it's Mo Perry that might get scored with this third spot. We'll see, but it is dead close at the start finish at one spot. Williams is ahead. That's after the line, and then at the line it looks like Mo Perry's out in front. We'll wait for official scoring on that.
Wait and see, indeed. And what was an eventful one in this one, as I believe we do have Cosman now standing by,
yes,
who was able to push Justin Malillo on forward. I believe he's standing by with you.
Cosman able to bring it home. P2 stood by your teammate there for the last 2 laps to push him to victory. If he wasn't in front of you, do you think he would have been able to hang on to have a shot for the win, or do you think he would have got eaten alive?
I was actually going to make a move if I ever got clear, but when I got clear, it was very close to the start-finish line, so there was no point in doing that. I would have only risked net coding Justin and myself, but we stuck behind it all the way.
And you had a long night to get through, had that big crash there with 4 laps to go. Take us through your vantage point of that incident there coming off turn 4.
I saw it very late. All I saw was just Michael Frisch's carcass of the car just sitting down next to the wall, and then at my end it made a really abrupt left side move, and I had nowhere to go and clobbered that pretty hard. But because a lot more cars were involved in that, we were able to restart in P5, and somehow we got to the bumper of Justin. Once that happened, I was never going to get off of him until the last corner.
And before we send you on your way, anybody you want to thank or say hi to?
I want to say that I'm the first one to push Justin's Tractions cars to a win, and I'm very happy about that. P1 and 2, and they look really good in pink. And everybody who puts this show on, and every week, every weekend, it's pretty fun, man.
Well, congratulations on the second place finish and the sweep of the top 2 spots. And of course, there won't be any commentary next week, but you'll see you. Oh darn, I forget where we're even at next week. Monza for the season finale.
Yeah, I hope I'll be there, and I hope you guys have fun.
Second place finisher, Cosman Ionescu.
like to thank him and Justin Miller for taking the time to speak with us at the end of race number 2 here. Let's take a look at your upcoming events here on STN Racing, where it's an eventful next few days of action. The FTF Grand National Series presented by Bar Visuals heads over to Lucas Oil Raceway tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in here on STN Racing. Then Four Corners Racing League heads to Charlotte Motor Speedway on Monday, May 31st. That'll take place at approximately 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget the eNASCAR Road to Pro Qualifying iRacing Series in its second split from Martinsville will take place June the 3rd at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And on that note, Jacob, your final thoughts on how tonight went down and what was an eventful evening. A great finish to race 1 with teamwork, and Justin Malone with an emotional victory in race 2.
Certainly 2 fantastic races. First race had a lot of cautions early. That second race was really, really clean, and these guys did a great job of putting on a fantastic show for us throughout every single lap. There wasn't a dull moment tonight. Props to these guys, and tell you what, it's a shame that this race is just a 6-track season, because I'd love to see these guys go to a whole bunch of different ovals and put on a whale of a show.
It'd be very interesting indeed. But on that note, it's time to say goodbye. For Director Zach Johnson, for my co-announcers, Jacob Hitz, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching STN Racing. Congratulations to your race winners. Race number 1 to Sean Butler, and race number 2 going to Justin Malone. Have a good night, everyone.